All right, it's reading number 19. Today, chapters 6 and 7. By way of a brief recap, the previous reading, Ishbosheth was growing afraid, and rightfully so, as he would be assassinated. However, his assassins would not be treated as being heroic, but they would be put to capital punishment as well. So David became the indisputed king of all the Israel, of all the tribes. He had some domestic policy successes as well as foreign policy champion early on, and so the hope was that the momentum could continue because Saul messed up early on and it got him off onto a bad trajectory. Can David's positive trajectory lead to further success? We go into chapter number 6, and remember the ark. It was early in our reading in 1 Samuel where when Samuel was rising to prominence via the downfall of Eli and his sons, the priests, on the occasion that Eli and his sons died. It was when Israel had suffered a tremendous defeat to the Philistines in battle, and the Ark of the Covenant was taken. Well, eventually it was brought back because it was such a, if you'll pardon the expression, it was such a bad luck charm amongst the Philistine cities. They sent it back, and it had been resting in Shiloh. Well, remember David? He resecured Jerusalem, and yesterday's reading, that was going to be his capital, and so it's time to bring the ark to Jerusalem. Excuse me. The ark was symbolic of the presence of God, the throne of God. It was the chief piece of sacred furniture to all the Hebrews. And in the process of bringing it to Jerusalem, there's going to be a party, there's going to be music, a procession, it's going to be a parade. It's a remarkable time. It's a good day for society. These are one of the things that you'd broadcast on live television if it were in modernity. However, something goes dreadfully wrong that day. The ark is being carried on a cart pulled by oxen, and the ark, it appears, it's about to fall off the cart. Uzzah decides that he's going to reach out and steady the ark. He touches the ark. Well, he loses his life right there. That stopped the party very, very, very quickly. David is upset. And we've already seen David's one. He's able to talk to God and communicate with God. He's trying to figure out what's going to happen. In fact, he goes into a 3-month period of reflection, trying to figure out what has gone wrong. He was intending on doing something good, and it failed, seemingly. Once the ark, who wanted to continue to steward the ark at that point? Well, what we know is that no one is supposed to touch the ark. And Uzzah was of the people who were trained in dealing with the ark, so he should have known this. But the idea is that here this is sacred, and that there's boundaries and that there's rules, and it must be treated accordingly. Even though Uzzah perhaps was impulsive, he was trying to do the right thing. Remember, Saul was trying to do the right thing. when it came to sacrifice, and that was his big downfall. With good intention, he still did the wrong thing. This is Uzzah here. Well, it's a broader problem because the way the ark is supposed to be transported isn't on a cart pulled by oxen, but rather the priests are supposed to carry it. There's rings at each corner of the ark that you put handles through, and you carry it that way. And so it's the ark is going to stay at Obed Edom for 3 months, and that place is doing well while the ark's there. But they're going to decide to bring it back the correct way and set it up there in Jerusalem. Now, upon escorting it in Jerusalem, it's a parade, it's a party, the music's resumed. Everybody has filed out to watch. It's a huge event. David is going to be dancing in the streets. I'm not sure exactly what this is looking like, but regardless, here you would think, and his wife Michal is watching this. We might think that Michal would think of her husband. Well, he's had a stressful period of pretty much his entire adult life. He's been on the run as though he was a fugitive. He's had to fight wars. Everything David's been through, doesn't he have an opportunity just to kick back, relax, and do some dancing if he wants? Well, she doesn't want to see the dancing. She's very bitter about it, and she's going to bring it up to him. He's been dancing in front of slave girls. It's making himself look like a fool. He says, well, I'm capable of a lot worse. You haven't seen anything yet. The way in these honor-shame societies, the way that an adult male was supposed to act was very stately. Wasn't supposed to run whatsoever. They were known by a slow walk, not a fast walk. So, contra that to a slow walk to dancing, it would be seen as dishonorable in that culture. And his wife is upset, but she's also the daughter of Saul. She was married and she's been taken from Saul. Taken from her husband. What kind of underlying bitterness is there? But she's going to get hurt in the end. She's going to have no children. That's a huge ouch. We've talked about this, and the honor for a woman came through her childbearing in these cultures, and they're saying now she's not going to have any children, and so David dishonored himself as culturally, socially, but yet that was okay, as he says he's happy that good things are happening now for the kingdom, that they have turned and rerouted the negativity that had been going on in the years that preceded him being coronated. And so while David seemingly dishonored himself, Michal is going to have the ultimate dishonor of losing her child bearingness. All right, chapter number 7. This is a pivotal moment in these two writings, 1st and 2nd Samuel. They really are of the same genre. They should be seen in unity rather than in separate 1st and 2nd Samuel. The letters of Samuel, or the narratives of Samuel, although Samuel did not write these. Anyway, so David has proven himself. God's going to speak to him. He's going to send the prophet Nathan. This is going to be serious talk. There's going to be a covenant here. God says, I've taken you from the pasture to the palace, from the outhouse to the White House. You were nothing. You were least of your own family, and yet I've propelled you, and good things are going to happen. This isn't going to end up like Saul, God says. I rejected him, but I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to establish your kingdom. It's going to be a dynasty. Your name's going to be great. This Ark of the Covenant and the people of God, they had been wanderers. They had been nomadic. Remember, they were in Egypt, serving as slaves in a foreign land. Then they were known for wandering around in the wilderness for a period of generations. They've made it into their promised land, but yet there's been a lot of turmoil ever since they settled down. Okay, it's time for some stability. It's time for some permanent behavior. People to settle down and live and capture the full potential of this promised land. And so here it's going to happen. God says here it can happen with you, David. And here in the sacred city of Jerusalem, with the Ark of the Covenant, with the presence of God there, the covenant of God, you're defeating the Philistines. This is the key moment and opportunity for good things to happen. And so it's with an optimistic tone that we conclude this reading and pick it up again tomorrow, as we will conclude this week's series of videos.